Welcome to the Polite Conversations podcast, where every episode is focused on civility, decorum, and good manners. And I'm your lovable, non-controversial host, Ina. If you know me, you know I definitely don't like to ruffle any feathers at all.
Get over it. We're going to Riyadh. The House of Saud is paying us hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of us millions.
What's up, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh? I'm on my way. Yo boy Chris Tucker is on his way. I'll see you soon.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the royal family, and any religion are off limits. NBC News reached out to Saudi event organizers but have not heard back to independently confirm the rules.
What do you think about the fact that we have a schism here in the comedy community?
You aren't going there just to entertain the people of Saudi Arabia. You're going there to participate in a state-sponsored event.
I have mixed feelings about it too. I struggled about going once I started hearing what everyone was saying.
You know, there's people over there that don't agree with the stuff that the government's doing. And to ascribe like the worst behavior of the government onto those people, it's not fair.
Riyadh Comedy Festival very soon. Get your tickets! Get your tickets!
Are you really going to go there?
Of course I am.
Wow.
Why would I not? So what? They have slaves. So what? So what? They have slaves. So what?
Hey everyone, welcome to this premium bonus episode. You can access the extended version of the episode by signing up via patreon.com/nicemangoes on the premium tiers, or you can individually purchase the episode too. It is truly a rough time for small left content creators. I hear just one story after another, and everyone has to do a fundraiser, and heck, even major publications are struggling nowadays. So I get it. It's a bad time for everyone. But if you can, please consider supporting small projects like this one. Now, with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. The Riyadh Comedy Festival. As someone who grew up in Saudi Arabia, I can't tell you how strange it is just to hear those words uttered, because if you lived in Riyadh before the 2000s, it really just doesn't compute. That phrase just sounds like an Onion headline. I mean, we seem to perpetually exist in a reality of Onion-type ridiculousness nowadays. Very dark Onion-type ridiculousness, to be clear. I just heard a clip of Netanyahu denying his war crimes, claiming to this very day, after endless evidence to the contrary exists, that the Israeli diaper forces have done more than any other army to get civilians out of harm's way. Come the fuck on. And then he went on to say, you say we committed war crimes, I committed war crimes, whatever. As if he was lying about something very small and casual there. It is insane that this is a war criminal with an ICC warrant out for his arrest, and he's on our fucking screens saying whatever about the fact that he's very credibly accused of war crimes. What a stupid and evil time to exist in.
Look, I would say that no army has done what Israel has done to try to get civilians out of harm's way, and Hamas has done everything in its power to keep civilians in harm's way. The second thing is that you say we committed war crimes, I committed war crimes, whatever. We committed war crimes, I committed war crimes, whatever. We committed war crimes, I committed war crimes, whatever. I committed war crimes, whatever. War crimes, whatever. War crimes, whatever. 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 Whatever.
Then there's Hegseth, the U.S.'s sex-pest, white nationalist, edgelord Secretary of War. He's also been on social media, claiming to murder innocent people for the lulz. He was recently responding to a tweet by TPUSA's Andrew Colvett, who said, "Every new attack aimed at Pete Hegseth makes me want another narco drug boat blown up and sent to the bottom of the ocean." To which Hegseth responded, "Your wish is our command, Andrew. Just sunk another narco boat." I mean, it's so unfathomably sick. This bizarre intersection of high school bully trolling people online and fucking literal murderous war criminals. These boats are bombed without any evidence at all. Survivors of such bombings have been innocent fishermen, for fuck's sake. And these people are just online bragging about how they've killed people for Twitter clout, for the laughs. Just the most evil, insane timeline. So why not? A Riyadh Comedy Festival in a theocracy that imprisons people for tweets, that dismembered a journalist, that still executes people at an alarming rate. Why not have them showcase comedians who whine about wokeness and cancel culture at home and are apparently fine to perform in a place where there's really no free speech at all? To help the Saudi regime art wash away their severe human rights violations. Look, I've heard that they do the executions a bit more privately now as of 2022, as opposed to the public executions they were doing before that. So that's really all a lot of people seem to need to normalize a place like Saudi. Take that execution nastiness out of sight, please. Is really the view that many, many people seem to have when you boil it down. And it's bizarre to me how many of those people are right-leaning anti-Muslims even. You'll have heard me talk about Douglas Murray's civilizational G-spot line, where he was very pleased with the place Riyadh is now in, as just one example. Not too woke like Berkeley, and not like those awful Palestinians that Douglas Murray despises so much as they are mass slaughtered. And then there was also IDW adjacent Helen Lewis, who thought it would be real funny to get The Atlantic to send her over to report on the Riyadh Comedy Festival, because human rights are such a joke, you know? She wrote in The Atlantic, "Bored young men in the Gulf once turned to jihad. Now they have Jimmy Carr making jokes about dildos. This is called progress." This sort of line really just betrays such a Western arrogance and ignorance and bigotry, of course, as if jihad is the only thing young people turn to when bored there, as if teenagers loitering in strip malls isn't also a thing that happens there, or video games, or any number of non-jihad alternatives. And no, Helen, it's not progress, because this is a highly manufactured, artificial situation, not a situation where most people can safely make such jokes on stage. And like in private, I mean, she clearly knows nothing about life in Saudi, probably didn't even talk to many people who live there for this story. There's a very vibrant underground party scene, a vibrant underground gay scene. The alcohol flows, people smoke pot and do other things, sex toys exist, and are joked about endlessly. This isn't Jimmy Carr bringing some exciting new joke, crossing a boundary that's never been crossed. I mean, just because everything has to be done on the DL and all hush-hush doesn't mean it doesn't exist there, all right? Jimmy Carr did not bring some exciting new joke to a country that has never ever heard such a thing. Anyway, If you know my work, you'll know that I am not a fan of such ridiculous, shallow excuses for Saudi. I grew up there, I lived it pre-MBS, and I just don't buy into these superficial cosmetic changes that MBS has made recently. There's been sports washing and art washing, celebrity washing galore, and this ludicrous comedy festival was just another one of those events. Except, I think, a comedian going there to perform is even worse than, say, a soccer player, because something like soccer, while it certainly also helps whitewash Saudi's crimes, but soccer isn't something that people are being persecuted for generally, but speech, that is a major reason people are being oppressed, mistreated, and even executed there. This very year, in fact, Saudi journalist Turki Al-Jasser was executed for quote-unquote high treason because he tweeted critically about the government from an anonymous account that they found he was behind. He once even tweeted, quite prophetically, "The Arab writer can easily be killed by their government under the pretext of national security." And sadly, he was. Last year, Saudi sentenced a comedian to 13 years for a comedy Netflix series and jailed a cartoonist who got a sentence of 23 years for quote-unquote offensive cartoons. I mean, fuck. Unsurprisingly, the Western comedians participating in the festival didn't have a lot to say about that. So, I think the comedians going there specifically in this curated, contained, extremely controlled environment where cell phones or filming weren't allowed, where there were very specific topics you could not touch, those comedians are helping to create the illusion of progress around speech specifically, something that soccer or golf, even though it's still washing, is not doing. All laundering of human rights violations is very bad, but this type is especially horrendous, is what I'm saying. Anyway, these comedians certainly came up with some very interesting excuses to justify what they were doing. Some were more honest and upfront, clearly saying that they were just in it for the money and didn't care about much else, but I'd say the ones that came off looking the worst are the ones who try to make everyone believe that they are doing it for progress, for the people, for the public good. Some claimed they were donating the proceeds to human rights organizations, but organizations like Human Rights Watch, I believe, rejected any such donations from Jessica Kirson and Aziz Ansari, who said they would donate. So, it'd be good to have some more details about how much they donated and where exactly they donated. Details that they did not share, of course. Some rightfully pointed out that it's not fair to conflate the actions of the government with the entirety of the Saudi people, which, sure, but this was not some independent, progressive Saudi organization putting this event on, because they absolutely would not be able to. This was at the behest of the literal government, okay? So it's nice to say you're going to perform for the people, but really you're just going to do what the government wants you to, because they are the ones paying you to stay within strict lines. Some, like Whitney Cummings, tried to say it was bigotry to be against the event, which is like Israel level silly. Sorry, but it's absolutely not bigoted to be critical of the Saudi government.
You think that the people of Saudi Arabia and the Saudi government all share... Okay, so you also believe that the Chinese government and the Chinese people are exactly the same. It's just racism. I think it took me a second, because when people are going like, oh, you're doing something unethical, I'm like, oh, these must be ethical people, let me listen. And then you're like, oh no, you're just racist.
Notice how she completely deflects from the actual issue here by pretending like it's about racism. I mean, there's definitely racism out there. You can even hear it in some of these comedians' excuses, the generalizations and the tropes, etc. But that is not the main reason that people are criticizing the whitewashing performance in Saudi Arabia. Let's be real. It's not about the people. The people are not the ones putting on this festival. It is the government.
Human Rights Watch says the watchdog organization has documented a soaring surge in executions this year and human rights violations.
The Riyadh Comedy Festival is part of Mohammed bin Salman's deliberate strategy to deflect attention from the reality of the human rights crisis in Saudi Arabia.
The festival coinciding with the 7th anniversary this month of the assassination of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi.
A couple of edgy jokes skirted the boundaries, I hear, but some like to present this as, look, it's our job to push the boundaries. That's what we're taking the opportunity to do here. Don't you get it? This will make things better for the people. No! You are a hand-picked group of famous people, an extremely privileged group who are still also asked to stay within tight boundaries. The average person would be jailed, or even worse for some of the jokes that these people performed. It is a very arrogant and self-centered perspective to think that they are moving the needle for the average person there, rather than they are a carefully crafted narrative by the Saudi leadership to pretend like what's happening is progress, while the same human rights violations continue as normal, just a little better hidden now.
This is a very young country. Like half the country is under the age of 25, and things can really change. And to me, like a comedy festival felt like something that's pushing things to be more open and to push a dialogue. And you kind of have to make a choice of whether you're going to isolate or engage. And for me, especially being me and looking the way I do and being from a Muslim background, it felt like something I should be a part of.
I basically think it's a great idea to go anywhere like that. Mm-hmm. Because purists bug me because they think change has to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. Change doesn't ever happen overnight.
No.
There are restrictions on what you can say because this is the first time.
Yeah.
But somebody has to go the first time.
That just feels like a good opportunity. And I just think comedy is a great way to get in and start talking.
And this is what's amazing about the arts and stand-up comedy is comedians have always pushed like the boundaries, and this was like a classic case. Like, I guess this is tipping the cap to the people that set up the festival over there. When they first went to set it up over there, the rules on what they had about what you could say and what you couldn't say in Saudi Arabia, the people running the festivals will be like, all right, well, man, that's game, set, match. If this is like all you can talk about and you want some good comedians, like, this isn't going to work. And then to their credit, they said, all right, what do we got to do? And they just negotiated it all the way down to, like, you can talk about anything, other than a couple things, which was basically, religion, don't make fun of the royals. And other than that, it was everything was like open.
The royals are the ones doing all the human rights violations, remember? So that's the main thing they've made off limits. Jim Jeffries said that the comedians were freedom of speech machines being sent over there.
Basically, we are freedom of speech machines being sent over there. And let's be fair, they have picked some fucking edgy-ass comedians.
But he acknowledged on one appearance that they do some bad shit there, execute journalists and stuff. He even defended them by saying that it wasn't his problem, and then he was magically removed from the lineup.
One reporter was killed by the government. Unfortunate, but not a hill that I'm going to die on.
You can't even jokingly or in defense of Saudi actions acknowledge what they do. As right-wing comedian Tim Dillon also discovered, and he really, really went out of his way to defend the Saudis, but they still weren't having it.
Get over it. Get over it. We're going to Riyadh. The House of Saud is paying us hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of us millions, not me, but they're paying millions of dollars to comedians. Doesn't matter how much they're paying me $375,000 for one show. Now, a lot of other people are getting $1.6 million. That's not me. I'm not in that bracket. But they're giving me $375. Others are getting $150. Why are they doing it? A lot of people are doing it.
That comedy festival very soon. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. Are you really going to go there?
Of course I am.
Wow.
Why would I not? Would they kill gay people and women? By the way, we've said say this about every Muslim. Every Muslim country is throwing gay people off the roof all the time, by the way. Okay? I obviously don't agree with Saudi Arabian policies on women and things like that.
Yeah.
Is it my business to tell Saudi Arabia how to live? Truly.
How big was the check?
$375,000 for one show.
Nice.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
I'll take that.
I'll watch a behanding for that.
Behanding?
Yeah, it's called a behanding. What happens is they cut the hand off the thief. Get over it. So what? So what they have slaves? So what? My friend, not a friend, somebody I don't even know. I bumped into them in Tribeca. And he goes, I would never do that because I don't want to interact with slaves. I'm like, well, why not? They'd be deferential, right? I mean, I imagine the slaves in those countries are good at what they do. My agent called me and told me they heard what you said about them having slaves. And I said, I was being positive about it. I was defending them. He goes, well, I know that. I know you were defending them. I said, I was defending them for having slaves. I literally said, slaves are probably hard workers and, for the most part, agreeable. But they didn't like that.
Please subscribe via patreon.com/nicemangoes on the premium tiers to access the extended version of this episode. Or you can purchase the episode individually too. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support it, there are several ways you can do that. You can share it online, talk about what you just heard. You can leave a 5-star review to help others find it too. And you can also subscribe via patreon.com/nicemangoes. No E in mangoes. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter before it's completely wrecked, you'll find me at Nice Mangoes. Again, no E in mangoes.